Hi. So somebody asked, how do I find the right thing to do with my life? And how do I awaken to fullness and not just emptiness? These two questions are correlated. In non-duality, we are taught that all is empty. We're taught that this world is a dream and that the self is illusory. There is no you, there is no world. And what that does is it allows us to see the emptiness of things often, but it can leave you with a sort of blindness to the fullness of life. And then you find yourself in a sort of like cold, detached place where you're kind of seeing this empty world and nothing has any meaning and everything's a dream. And so the question, how do I find what to do with my life? Comes from this place. It comes from a search for meaning, a search for purpose, a search for depth. Because a part of you knows that you're only seeing one half of a full picture. So to start, I'll get to the first question later, what to do with my life, how do I find the right thing to do? But how to awaken to fullness and not just emptiness. If you've only awakened to emptiness, it's likely that you're holding some sort of mental position. Because for you to see emptiness and to conclude emptiness and lack of meaning, the mind needs to be interpreting reality as that. So it must be looking around and saying, oh, all this is empty. Oh, this is all a dream. Oh, none of it has any meaning. There's like a subtle mental position there in emptiness. Not always, but I'm judging it by your other question. The search for meaning, the search for your place in the world. So this is a guess. It's a guess that perhaps you feel like you really want to see the fullness of life because all you see is the emptiness. In which case, investigate the mental positions that are being held by the mind. And whatever this means to you, what I say is kind of like, sometimes you have to read between the lines a little bit because it can get quite subtle. But if you're looking around and you see everything as empty, if you truly see emptiness, you will see the fullness. Whereas the mind's emptiness, or rather the mind's conclusion of emptiness, as meaningless or even as empty, is actually false. This is not empty nor full. You can say it's both, but to see only one side means that we're denying ourselves of something. So, check that you're not perhaps denying fullness of life under the guise of a non-dual teaching, thinking that if you give yourself to the fullness of life that you'll be in duality. Something along those lines. Being scared to engage fully with life because of fear of identification. Because in a true non-dual seeing, the mind can't even say that this is empty. And it can't say that it's full. And now some practical advice. So that was the first thing. Watch out for a mental position. Something calling this emptiness. Something calling this meaningless when it's not. Because this is as meaningful as it is meaningless. This is not meaningless. It's not purposeless. It's not empty and it's not a dream. These are all just pointers, and sometimes the pointers can stick a little too hard and make us feel cold and dull and separate. If you investigate really carefully, you'll notice that the emptiness that's being held is a duality. So now, onto the practical side. How to awaken to the fullness. There's fullness right here, and the first place to go is your very body sensations. That is the most full thing. If you go into your body, yes, there's an empty quality, an empty, transparent luminosity. But there's also a vibrant, full, intimate, warm, embracing, blissful, ecstatic, moving, vibrating fullness. Don't hold a mental position. Don't label your experience as empty. And you'll see that soon the fullness will just begin to show itself, because reality is just like a mirror. If we hold up emptiness, if we look in our body and we're like, oh, it's all empty, there's no one here, it's all empty, it's going to mirror that back to you. So set an intention to seek the fullness. Another aspect of it is, give yourself back to life. We can't, forever remain in this position of witnessing everything as empty. Give yourself back to the things that you love. Give yourself back to interacting with others. Your significant other, your family members or friends. Give yourself back to the fullness of life, whatever that means to you. Make music, art, a sport, dance, whatever it is that lights you up. And perhaps you think, the things that used to light you up don't light you up anymore, and that's fine. It's time to search for something new, because there's definitely something out there that'll light you up, especially if you don't label your experience anymore. It's amazing what can happen when you stop interpreting this. We put all these labels onto reality. We call it full and we call it empty. And then we live it as that. But living this as no thing, nameless reality is far more exciting. So yeah, go into your body. Feel the fullness of sensation. It's very intimate, very full, very close. Or just life. Life is very full. If you look at a dog or a baby or the sky, it feels wrong to say that these things are just empty, right? Does it not feel like you're kind of denying a part of yourself? Source has an orientation toward treating things as they are, not as our minds want them to be. And then how to find what to do with my life. On the one hand, this will sort itself out. As soon as you begin to realize there's meaning here, that there's as much meaning as there is meaninglessness, and this is as much real as it is a dream, it will sort itself out. The search for purpose, the search for meaning is simply a reaching out and an intuition saying, I'm not seeing a full picture. I hope that helps. It was quite subtle.